Greetings, mortals. I am Natus, one of the rulers of the underworld, or specifically the ruler of Manga Hell. And today I'll be giving you my first proper video on my video series is on making the ultimate or my version of an ultimate multi-universal anime villains army. If you haven't seen the video that I explained this, you should go check it out, and I feel like it's a very good explanation, and it will explain a few things that you might be wondering about. And with that said, let's get into this series where we are gonna first start off with the general structure of my army. So the first thing we have to decide on any villain's army is exactly what's their name gonna be. And I've decided to go with Cthulhu Empire because, well, it's Cthulhu and everyone likes Cthulhu. And the Empire, since I feel like it gives more of a... It gives more... From the ways to describe armies, I feel like it gives like the most dangerous, oh shit, this is an overnight giant structure and all that, with the Empire. So yeah, basically to make it as cool sounding as I could possibly think of. Now let's go into the first division and the highest ranking members of this army being Lucifer's Overlords. As you might could have probably guessed just by Lucifer's name alone, the structure is generally gonna be breaking down into one of the seven deadly princes, that says and something what they're gonna or and a title that's gonna describe what they're gonna do. With the overlords here being the 13 people who are in charge of the military, or the entire empire being an oligarchy that will decide everything. Now I decided to go with an oligarchy instead of one specific villain leader because let's be real here, for as much as we love some of these villain leaders, a lot of the times they have flaws that could get in between them, and generally, well, let's be real here, there are a lot of them are up there in terms of how they view themselves, which is the biggest problem. And with them being in the same position as a lot of others, I feel like we'll be able to balance each other out. So even if one's too egotistical, I feel like some would be smart enough to point out their flaws. Especially since a lot of the times it does feel like the person in charge is more like the most powerful and not really the smartest in the group. I mean, look at Kaido. He may not be no idiot, but let's be real here. Is he really the smartest in the organization? So yeah. I've also decided that the Overlords was gonna have 13 members. One, it's an uneven number, and in an oligarchy, it makes the most sense to have an uneven number. Because, it can always go 50-50, and then, well, you're gonna have to find a tiebreaker, unless if you can convince one another to go with that plan. So, yeah, with a 13, it will always be, or you cannot have a 50-50 in a 13, that's all I'm saying. I also decided to go with number 13 because, you know, the unlucky 13, aka the world's unlucky that this force was built, and the ones in charge are 13 dangerous, extremely powerful and dangerous villains who can, or in my opinion, bring something to the table, even if I feel like I'll have to explain why some of these are in. Again, leave your thoughts on which people should be in it, if you want, in the comments below. Then we have the next group, which are gonna be basically the ones below the leader, the ones who are the strongest in the military, but also the ones who are referring to them. And this is gonna be Satan's Paladins. Obviously, Paladin making fun of the whole God and his followers and angels and that stuff. In my opinion, it does make sense that they will be, having this ultimate evil organization would make fun of the whole holy aspect of some stuff, or twist in their own sense. And Satan, because, well, Satan and since I feel like this is the way I feel, Satan is picked because, well, Satan is one of the most famous demons. In fact, besides Lucifer, probably the most famous demon man in the world. I would even say he is the most famous demon man. So, in my opinion, he would make sense for it. Plus, I feel like a lot of Satan's paladins are gonna be people who could be the overlords. It's just, for one reason or another, like Boris, for example, they just cannot be leaders. Like, I can't imagine Boris being able to, like, sit down and quietly calculate what the next move is gonna be. I mean, another guy can't cut universes, but let's be real here. He hasn't really shown that he's the smart, like the most. Alright, our conquest will be slow and glorious. He's not giving me that kind of vibe. So Satan's Paladins, people who are most likely gonna be stronger, if not equal to Overlords, but these guys are gonna be more focused just on pure combat. So yeah, the next one we have of the structure is Beelzebub's Disciples. Another very famous demon, and disciples can best be interpreted as the ones who are not exactly the strongest group, but they are like, they can swap out with one another. Think of Toby Ropo from One Piece or the advisors from My Academia. Well, if you want to count them, since they were kind of not handled that best. But needless to say, this is what the disciples are gonna be. Mostly extremely powerful villains who are not gonna be exactly paladin tier, but are gonna be forces to be reckoned with. As well, in invasion sense, they would be kind of the top generals that are gonna be with the paladins when it comes to invading. It'll be like these guys are gonna be in charge of the field while the paladin is waiting in the back. That's kind of where disciples would be going with me with this whole thing, and I feel like it makes sense to have some group that's like not exactly to overlords, but to paladins to refer to. Plus, I feel like disciples themselves would be a pretty good match themselves against anyone who would go up against them. Now, the next group is actually, now this is where we actually go into a bit more of an interesting structure, in my opinion, where we divide from the regular general, well, the regular generals, admirals, and all that, and we go into a different branch entirely, with Momon's branch, who's going to be less focused on combat, although to be fair, I feel like any one of these would be able to be a threat in their own way, but I feel like the Momon's branch is more going to be meant more for a research, material, financial, more like slow conquering type of aspect. They'll be more in charge of developing new technology with the research division, magic items and anything magic with the magic division, the transport, the goods, the general resources for anything will be going for the market division. And the final one will be the red light district, which will be more of information gathering district, as well as more of the, I mean, the ones that gotta be more to get us all, to get more, to make them look like they're more presentable than what they really are, and more manipulation type of deals. And all these departments are gonna have their own hats that are basically gonna be in a similar position or a similar rank as disciples, but in their own leaders of their own respective groups. They'll be referring to paladins the same way. It's just they'll not do not have that rank of disciples. And in each one of these divisions, there's gonna be a different person in charge and with a different title. Like research is gonna have head scientist, magic is gonna have head mage, market will have godfather, and red light district will have a madam. The meta may need to be changed depending on who's gonna be the leader, but let's be real here, red light districts are usually run by females anyways. So yeah, this is the general structure. Now, I don't think it will be necessary for anyone, like any vice scientist or anyone to be on their right hand mans. I feel like that any of these groups will have more like, depending on who they like the most as their right hand. But I don't think there's gonna be a necessity for a rank. More of a personality aspect to it. The next group we're gonna be having is Asmodeus Guilt. Where Asmodeus Guild is gonna be similar to Adventurers Guilds or Adventurers in Isekai type of series, where they'll be the ones who'll be sent on missions. Their disciple ranked individual, similar to the Momon's branch, is gonna be a guild master who'll be again similar to is gonna be similarly referring to disciple who have the same rank as disciples and the one referring to paladins. And for the rest of the Adventures Guild, it's gonna have they'll be split in ranks based off of some minerals. The highest being crystal, then going gold, then going silver, then going bronze, then going metal, and the lowest will be rock. This is how this is how the villains are gonna be structured in. And this group is also gonna be it's gonna have villains who aren't exactly anything special. They're not OP like the Paladins or Overlords, but they're gonna be more like the characters who sometimes fight, the characters who are meant to introduce us into a villain organization. More those type of characters, or characters who are powerful but they don't have enough upstairs or enough maneuverability and flair to make them stand out. Think of Dark Disciples from Black Clover, for example. Now, second to last group is gonna be called Levias Forest, which is gonna be similar to Momon's branch, where there'll be technically two groups, but unlike Momon's branch groups, which are not really going to be connected to one another directly, more like, oh, magic and research needs this material, so the market group is gonna bring them. Or red light districts gathered some information where the market group is gonna be focused on getting it and selling it. While the two groups here being beast tamers and monsters are gonna be two groups that are gonna be with focus on being the kind of the forces of calamity. Beast tamers are gonna be, as their name suggests, are gonna be in charge of getting the monsters who are similar to Asmodeus Guilt being split into tiers of power, where they'll be forcing getting them and having them under control and having them go wrong, rampaging and causing chaos and destruction. With the leader of this group being in a similar rank to the ones in Momon's branch, being Head Hunter, who will be the strongest hunter. And he'll have the two groups below him with Hydra Hunters, who are gonna be the strongest of the hunters, so the ones who gotta be the ones who will be able to get the most monsters under control, and normal hunters who are just gonna be the ones, the average ruffian you're gonna see around. They'll be the ones who'll be like groups of 5 or 10 around one Hydra hunter who will be in charge of everything. And that's generally how I feel like this structure will go with them. And the beasts they'll be hunting there are gonna be monsters on multiple tiers. One tier, the highest tier being Dragon tier, then goes Cerberus tier, then go Dinosaur tier, then go Bear tier, and the lowest being Hyena tier. And these guys aren't gonna have any specific structure. It's gonna be whenever we're gonna require some force of power of the specific level. Like we need to level a city quickly and destructively fast. We have a dragon tier merely showing up so we can just destroy everything. We need just general chaos. We have hyena tier to just destroy the streets of it. So yeah. And now as for the final group, we have Belphegor spawns. Now these are gonna be the real backbone or the real faces of the army, where they're gonna be the troops that disciples and paladins are gonna be commanding mostly to go around and causing rampages, and the ones that the other Mormon's branch will be able to use whenever if they need someone to handle it in a more overwhelming force sense. Or name the ones if the Mormon's branch is gonna need any kind of assistance, this will be the one sent. These are gonna be comprised of that generic father soldier group, the we see everywhere like the Soldat in Vandengreit, the regular Aronkai as well, the Alvaro soldiers, and the demons, and the low-ranking demons in Sandy Sense. This is generally what Belphegor spawns are gonna be, and I feel like it makes sense to have them because again, it's good to have like a bit of a differentiation between the titles for even the father soldiers. And this is again what's gonna be mostly used for them to mostly be used just for the nameless father soldier groups. I don't think there has to be any specific titles for them because again, there'll just be a bunch of nameless soldiers going to war. So yeah. Now, anyways, I hope you liked the first episode of this multiverse anime villain army. I hope you will leave your comments below on who you think should join these groups and who you predict is gonna join. I'll try to get you a video about who I think of the Overlords next week or maybe a week after that. But I hope you stay into so you will watch it to the very end. So yeah, anyways, I hope you like this video. I hope you leave a like, subscribe to this channel for more videos in the future. And with that said, I cannot wait to see